Just when I thought I couldn't find my way out, yeah, I searched the God in me to find my way out. I know it can seem way out, but the Creator flows to and through me from way out. I'm talking way out, yeah, yeah, yeah. See, if you believe in the God in you, it's a better place. Creating the force and the power to live a better. Just know that love and joy and peace is one in all of the same space. That you were chosen just like God. Can't mind the energy. Can't mind. God can't mind your energy. That's right. How can I say? Only you can make the change. How can I share your energy? How can I shine so bright from darkness to light. Hey, 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 hey. From darkness to light. Yeah. And you'll find your way out. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it won't seem way out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The power of God will flow through you from way out.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Alchemizing Energy, and today we are going to talk about the current case that is happening. Rising music star D4VD, also known as David Burke, has been charged in the killing of a 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez and has pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors have reportedly brought the first-degree murder and related charges, and multiple outlets report the death penalty is being weighed, though a final decision to seek it has not been announced. Now the question, why am I? How long has it been muted? You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. So the question is will he get the death penalty? So yes, D4VD has been officially charged with the killing of Rivas, and the question is, will he get the death penalty? So let's go into some of the things that are going on here. Man, this is crazy. So it looks like he actually is finally getting charged, and this has been like a long time because he's been on tour. Finally, like in the middle of it, he came off tour. Like when the whole thing was going down, he was actually just on tour, just still touring. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing was wrong. And somehow, I guess he figured out that maybe I shouldn't be on tour when all this whole investigation is going on. It's kind of crazy. And so looks like he it's like some kind of a case where she was threatening him in a certain way, like, hey, I'm gonna like drop the dime on you for you're fooling around with a 14-year-old. And I guess that he decided that he was going to offer. And this is what they're pretty much saying is the motivation behind the slaying of the young lady. So let's get into some of the news footage that's coming out about this. This is really insane. I'm like, wow, this is something else. I can't believe it. Let's go.
The Los Angeles County District Attorney, Nathan Hochman, and the Chief of Police, Jim McDonald, coming up, and they will be speaking to you. I will ask you when we get to any questions. There's only going to be time for just a few brief questions, so this isn't going to be a long Q&A afterwards. I'm going to ask you if you could do one at a time as much as possible so that we can hear the question, process it, and answer it appropriately. District Attorney Nathan Hochman.
Good morning. My name is Nathan Hochman. I'm the District Attorney of Los Angeles County. With me up here is Los Angeles Police Department Chief Jim McDonald. Also at this podium on the DA side are the Assistant District Attorney Maria Ramirez, who oversees our special operations. We have John McKinney, who is our Director of Specialized Prosecutions. The Assistant Head Deputy District Attorney is Habib Balian of the Major Crimes Division. Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman of the Major Crimes Division will be the lead prosecutor on this case. From the Los Angeles Police Department, we also have Captain Scott Williams, who's the commanding officer of LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division, the Chief of Detectives, Alan Hamilton, the Director of Specialized Prosecutions, Mike Rimkunis, and the LAPD detectives on this case, Josh Byers and Corey Farrell. Today, I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4VD, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. That is first-degree murder with special circumstances. The special circumstances being lying in wait, committing this crime for financial gain, or murdering a witness in an investigation. These special circumstances.
Lying in wait. What does that mean? Lying in wait. What does that mean? He was waiting on her? Like, what is going on? Like, he was lying in wait. Then it was something about like, this is crazy. Like, it sounded like to me like she was fixing to drop the dime on him, and he did this. Man, this is crazy.
Carry with it, along with the first-degree murder charge, a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
Or the death penalty, guys. So, you know what? 14-year-old, he kills her, whatever. I mean, allegedly. And now he is up for the death penalty, guys. This is crazy. Why would a person as a star do this? Like, that's you're a entertainer, you're making all this money. Why did he do this? If he did do this, why would he do that? Let's go.
The determination on whether or not the district attorney's office will seek the death penalty will be made at a later time. Before I get into the actual charges, and there are additional charges against Mr. Burke, including continuous sexual acts, lewd and lascivious sexual acts with an individual under 14 years old, and mutilating a human remains of a body. Before I get into the description of these charges and their seriousness, I want to look at this as a parent. I am a parent of 3 children, and a parent's nightmare is a situation where your daughter goes out one night and never comes back. As we will show in a court of law, and what I also want to make sure about that the understanding of these charges is clear, is my description of these charges is not evidence that we are going to present in court. These charges, in fact, will not be evidence in the court. Evidence will be the witness testimony, the documents, and different types of admissible testimony that we will admit into court in the prosecution, and if it leads to the eventual trial of Mr. Burke, to convince a jury of 12 people beyond a reasonable doubt that each and every one of these charges is true, as well as the special allegations and circumstances that have been alleged. Now, back to this being a parent's nightmare. On April 23rd, 2025, as been alleged by the complaint, Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time, went to Mr. Burke's house in the Hollywood Hills. She was never heard from again. On September 8th, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, Miss Celeste remains, her dismembered and decomposed remains were found in 2 bags inside of a front trunk of a car registered to Mr. Burke. Thereafter began an investigation. The investigation was to determine who killed, who murdered Celeste months and months before. That investigation was carried out in unison and in partnership between the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division and the District Attorney's Office. At every point in the investigation, through the arrest and the filing of charges, the LAPD and the District Attorney's Office have worked in lockstep. There's been no disagreements amongst these entities in deciding how to proceed with this case, ultimately leading to these charges today. So what you
Man, this is crazy because this guy was on tour when the whole thing went down. He stayed on tour until the bitter end. I don't know whether he was staying on tour so he can get enough money to fight this case, but like if he did this, but it's showing even more callous that he actually stayed on tour to a certain point where they finally had to just say, listen, you can't go on tour no more. He was touring like for the longest. Like, you're still touring when you have a murder investigation. He was still touring, guys. This is crazy. So just to find out that he might have did this, and it looks like the evidence is pretty strong. Let's go.
have as well with these charges is that, again, there are 3 sets of charges that have been brought. The first-degree murder with special circumstances. And again, those special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again. The second is a special circumstance being that this murder was committed for financial gain. As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening.
Child, I think it's through for him. It's through for him. If any of this is true, that means he went on tour knowing he had did this to this little young girl and stayed on tour up until the bitter end, honey. He might get the penalty. I'm sorry. He might get that penalty. That's crazy.
On that particular night. The third charge, in addition to lying in wait and for financial gain, is murdering a witness to an investigation. In this particular case, as the evidence will come out in court, the witness to the investigation was Celeste. And the investigation was into the lewd and lascivious sexual acts committed by Mr. Burke that is the subject of count 2 of this complaint with Celeste while she was under 14 years old.
Wait, so I'm trying to figure out. So did she say that she was fixing to file charges? Like, was there a charge beforehand? Like, how is he getting charged with this? Like, or did they charge him after the fact and say that she was coming there to address him about that and say that I was going, or maybe she said, hey, I'm about to like drop the dime on you. He coerced her to come over to the house. Boom. Something, man. But this is, man, what is going on with our people, bro? Or not even say our, like the people. I'm sorry. It ain't us. It ain't me. This is crazy.
I had the chance to meet with some of the family members of Celeste, and their grief is incalculable as to what happened to their daughter. What they have demanded, what we have assured them that the district attorney's office working with LAPD would give them is the idea, is the proof beyond a reasonable doubt on who killed their daughter, on how their daughter was killed, when their daughter was killed, and bring that killer to justice. That killer that we have now charged is David Anthony Burke. We will have questions after I speak and Chief McDonald speaks. At this point, I invite Chief McDonald to speak.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I want to begin by expressing my deepest condolences to the parents of Celeste Rivas. No parent or any human being should have to endure what you've gone through. Today, alongside DA Hochman and our partners at the LA County District Attorney's Office, and thanks to the tireless and hard work of our investigators at the LAPD, we're announcing the arrest and prosecution of David Burke for the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas. Throughout the 7-month investigation, this department has faced criticism for how we handled the case and for our decision not to provide details. I want to be clear about something. My duty is not to fuel speculation, it's to deliver justice, and that requires patience and discipline on everybody's part. This investigation was driven by a single purpose: to secure justice for Celeste Rivas and for those who loved her. We had to be certain that nothing we did or said would ever jeopardize this case. Ms. Rivas was a reported runaway from Riverside County. During the course of our investigation, detectives learned that she had been involved in a sexual relationship with Mr. Burke when she was a minor and he was an adult. On April 23rd, 2025, Ms. Rivas arrived at Mr. Burke's home in the Hollywood Hills. That's the last time she was known to be alive. On September 8th, 2025, Ms. Rivas's dismembered and badly decomposed body was discovered in the front trunk of Mr. Burke's impounded Tesla. From that moment forward, our investigators faced an extraordinary, difficult, and complex case. The condition of her remains delayed the medical examiner's ability to be able to determine cause of death. The substantial amount of time that passed between her death and the discovery meant that crucial evidence had degraded or disappeared. And as detectives worked to uncover the truth, they also had to sift through and debunk a great deal of false information circulating publicly. These challenges were real, and they required patience, precision, and an unwavering commitment to the facts.
Man, he is through. I'm sorry. You know what? They spent their time on this. Before they got a prosecution, they didn't say nothing. They was quiet with it, and they just went ahead and he probably thought he was gonna go scot-free. You know what I'm saying? But the crazy part is, what you're gonna do that and leave the decomposed man, child.
Despite these obstacles and despite intense public pressure, our robbery homicide division detectives remained steadfast in their duties. They recovered and analyzed a substantial amount of digital and forensic evidence. They stayed focused, disciplined, and committed to uncovering the truth.
Honey.
Their work, in close collaboration with the district attorney's office, has brought us to this moment today. I want to thank the district attorney and his team, as always, for their partnership. This case demanded coordination, persistence, and a shared commitment to justice. Also, thank you to our media partners for showing up today and for sharing this important message with the public. And finally, to Ms. Rivas's family, we cannot undo the pain you are feeling. Our hope is that today brings some measure of accountability and a step in the journey toward healing.
Man, let me tell you something. They got something on him. They got it. If whatever it is, they have it, and he is toast. You hear me? They are going to do the death penalty. I'm sorry. I believe that they're going to do. I don't think he's going to get life. They're going to do the death, because there's too many other charges that's weird and stuff like that. And then the amount of like violence that, I'm seeing based on this case so far, even just like looking on Twitter, and it's a lot. So before I finish playing the AP response, let's look at some of the other videos. Let's check this out.
David murdered Celeste because she was threatening to make their sexual relationship public. That is what the DA is alleging. Let me explain. And Celeste's cause of death was apparently just revealed in court documents, where the medical examiner said that this was a homicide and that David took her life with a sharp instrument. So David was formally charged moments ago with first-degree murder with special circumstances. Those circumstances...
For those that don't know, D4VD, David, is a like rapper or singer that had really deep, like dark gothic type of undertones, talking about death and this, that. There's a black guy, right? And somehow he was into young girls. So the girl Rivas comes to his place, and then she ends up being found in his car. Now, during the whole time she's found in his car, he is on tour, doesn't leave the tour, is steady touring. And then they're like, okay, who did this? People thought it was his friend. People thought it was so many other things. But guess what? We didn't get all the information. It looks like that the body had been decomposed in the car. It wasn't like a thing that happened recently. It was something that happened beforehand. It was like a long decomposing situation while he is on tour. Come to find out, she had said that she was going to drop the dime on him for having, hooking up with her at 14. He coerced her to come back to his house and slayed her, and then like cut her body up and put her into the car. Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. And then he was into kind of like this, like kind of like really dark type of sexual acts and stuff like that. So, yeah. So that's what's happening, is that you have like this kind of gothic rapper or whatever you want to call it, whether it's rap or whatever you want to kind of call the music. I'm not gonna play it, but he had these dark lyrics that were talking about, hurting people and all type of stuff. And so, yeah, he ended up. So now people thought it was his friend that did it. People thought it was somebody else that did it, because he was on tour the whole time that they found the body. He just was on tour like nothing was going on. Finally, I guess his people was like, honey, you got to come up off tour because, this is going on. But he was like on tour, like just touring the whole world, like nothing was going on, just doing his songs or whatever. But his songs are dark and demonic and evil, like the words and stuff like that. And so, it's interesting. So the girl was a runaway, and she had ran away from home. And I don't know how she got in touch with him, but somehow they got in touch with each other. He's in his 20s, she's 14. They have some kind of strange, encounter. Lord knows what he did to her, but she came back on some like, what I'm telling. And he was like, no, you're not. And so this is where we are now. Let's go.
David murdered Celeste because she was threatening to make their sexual relationship public. That is what the DA is alleging. Let me explain. And Celeste's cause of death was apparently just revealed in court documents, where the medical examiner said that this was a homicide and that David took her life with a sharp instrument. So David was formally charged moments ago with first-degree murder with special circumstances, those circumstances being lying in wait and killing for financial gain. He was also charged with continuous sexual acts with an individual under 14 and murdering the witness to an investigation. This is all important. The DA said on April 23rd, Celeste went to David's house on his invitation, meaning he lured her to his house planning to take her life. This was premeditated, hence the first-degree charge. The DA also said that Celeste was a witness to an investigation, and later said that investigation was in regards to their sexual relationship, meaning Celeste was not only a witness, she was directly involved.
That is crazy. And even like, listen, all the way up to this whole time, he's been free online doing stuff, whatever, but it's like he pretend like nothing was going on.
D4VD has been taken into custody by the Los Angeles Police Department in connection with the death of Celeste Rivas and is currently being held without bail. Notably, D4VD's lyrics had long foreshadowed Celeste Rivas' death. The unsettling content of his verses makes it easy to draw a direct link to Celeste. As early as September 2025, Celeste's remains were discovered inside a Tesla vehicle linked to D4VD. At the time, the car had been abandoned and was emitting a strong foul odor. Reports indicate that the body had remained inside the vehicle for a considerable period. Consequently, the investigation into this case has been unfolding over the course of several months. Investigators had previously identified him as a key person of interest. His recent arrest now elevates the entire case to a new level, suggesting that the police may have secured irrefutable evidence. The case currently remains in the review phase. Prosecutors have not yet formally finalized the charges, and the related investigation is proceeding intensively. It is a regrettable turn of events that a rising artist has now become the central figure in a murder case. The public now awaits the latest updates to determine whether D4VD did in fact kill Celeste Rivas. Share your thoughts below.
So even while this whole investigation has been going on, he's been on Twitter, he's been like, on TikTok, dancing and doing all kind of wild stuff. He's been on tour like nothing's going on. And it's like, sir, whole investigation going on. So they're going to probably use all this stuff against him. He probably is going to get the D penalty because that's what they say that he is. It's going to be either life or the penalty. So I believe that they might go on ahead and get that penalty on him because like the way that he was acting is showing like zero remorse and almost like just insanity. Like, bro, really, you're gonna do something like that, and then you're dancing on TikTok and like, really? Yeah, I think he is toast, child. Electric chair toast. That's what I believe.
David murdered Celeste because she was threatening to make their sexual relationship public. That is what the DA is alleging. Let me explain. And Celeste's cause of death was apparently just revealed in court documents where the medical examiner said that this was a homicide and that David took her life with a sharp instrument. So David was formally charged moments ago with first-degree murder with special circumstances, those circumstances being lying in wait and killing for financial gain. He was also charged with continuous sexual acts with an individual under 14 and murdering the witness to an investigation. This is all important. The DA said on April 23rd, Celeste went to David's house on his invitation, meaning he lured her to his house, planning to take her life. This was premeditated, hence the first-degree charge. The DA also said that Celeste was a witness to an investigation and later said that investigation was in regards to their sexual relationship, meaning Celeste was not only a witness, she was direct.
Child, she was not only a witness, but she was actually the person. Man, I think he is. Listen, cinnamon toast crunch, guys. Cinnamon toast crunch. If you know what that means, he threw. Okay, let's go. Let's look a little further into this.
Good
Crazy.
afternoon, Mr. Burke.
Deputy District Attorney Beth Sullivan to the people, Your Honor.
Thank you. And counsel, on behalf of your client, do you waive formal reading of the complaint, advisement of rights, including armed forces and veterans' rights, enter a plea of not guilty, denying any and all special allegations, enhancements, and priors,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you're requesting a preliminary hearing within the period?
Yes, Your Honor. From the media reports, apparently there have been 4 months of secret grand jury proceedings. We believe that Mr. Burke is entitled at the earliest opportunity to an open preliminary hearing. And
Secret grand jury proceedings. That means they've been trying to secretly put this whole case together. Honey, he need more than one lawyer. He gonna need a team. They are trying to nail him to the cross. He is through.
proceedings not be done in secret. So we are asking for a preliminary hearing to be set at the earliest possible date on the 10th day. Your Honor,
Listen, even if they don't get him on the charge of like you murder, you know what I'm saying? It's the other charges that probably could still keep him in prison for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Fooling around with a minor and, and all this other stuff, They didn't put too much into this to be able to let it go. He is not going to get off. He's through. If he does, they're going to at least get him on the thing of like the minor situation. He's done on that. There's no way he can escape that because, there's too much evidence saying that he did that, and probably witness testimony, all type of stuff. And everybody coming out telling the business. He's through.
we believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death. And we would like to be able to have the evidence come into the light of day at the earliest opportunity in order to establish that. We're asking for April 23rd as a 3 of 10, Your Honor.
Anything from the people?
We'll be very happy to put on the evidence that we've collected in this case in the last several months.
Thank you. So the matter will be
They
set,
are-
plea of not guilty has
She
been entered on
ready.
behalf of Mr. Burke. The matter will be set in Department 105. The matter is ordered assigned to Judge Charlene Almeida in Department 105 for all purposes by the judge of the supervising.
Honey, where's Johnny Cochran when you need him? He is going to be through. I mean, I don't know. Even having a woman representing you, I don't even know if that's a good idea. If when all this come out, honey, she might leave and stop representing his behind. I don't know. This is crazy.
Judge of Criminal.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may just put on the record, we have, as soon as the people arrive, delivered a informal discovery request consistent with Penal Code Section 1054. We have been given almost no discovery thus far. We've received a 3-page follow-up report, no autopsy report, and a copy of the complaint. And we would.
They already hiding ish. They already hiding the documents. They already had secret judicial meetings and secret, all these different secret stuff. Listen, they are trying to nail this sucker to the cross. All them lyrics that he put. See, here's the thing. That's why it's important to watch what you say and the words you put out here. Now you up here singing about like killing and serial killing and this, that, the other, and cutting up body. This is what his lyrics are talking about. All this stuff. So they're gonna like be bringing up all them lyrics, all them things he said, honey. This is gonna be worse than the Young Thug, where they gonna bring up all his albums, what he said, all that stuff.
Ask the people respectfully to produce discovery at the earliest opportunity. News given the district attorney's office held a press conference this morning where they discussed the cause of death, apparently under seal and not released by the coroner's office, as did the robbery homicide unit to the press. So we would again reiterate, we believe that Mr. Burke is entitled to discovery. We have served the people with notice. They have 15 days to produce discovery in this case. We would ask that they do that in conscientious
haven't even given
earnestness
discovery. Listen, they so out cold.
I'd ask the court to make an order to.
They not even trying to give them the discovery, you guys. They've been working so hard on this. They not even giving the lawyer discovery. They up here, they holding on to it like as long as they can. They are trying to nail this brother to the cross, this dude to the cross. I don't even know if I would call him a brother if he did this. It's crazy.
Okay, we'll take a copy of the minute order ordering the Department of Medical Examiner to release their coroner's report in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The court will order that the medical examiner release the report in this case forthwith.
Thank you.
The matter set in Department 105, as the court indicated, April 23rd, 2026.
That's crazy. So yeah, that's the he's fixing to go through it. They not playing with him. They're not playing with him. And here is apparently they're saying that he actually admitted to doing it on
what am I making
on a live stream. So see, this is the thing. People be on these little TikToks running their damn mouth, don't know who watching. And I guess he just said something online. They say, well, he said it. Let's watch.
What am I making? How am I making it? What's the flows? What's the melodies? I'm a melody person first, and then a structure person second. I'm playing video games like I always do. Yeah, I'm playing Warzone. Velvet, my producer, my main producer, like he sends me all the beats I use when I make music by myself. He was like, "Yo, bro, I got these 3 beats for you." I'm like, "All right, bet. Let me hear 'em."
Right? Do you hear how he's sounding? Now he's underneath a investigation for MUDR. Okay, she wrote something. She wrote. No, she wrote. He under like that investigation, and you up here talking about how you play video games. You ain't studying it. Here's the ego of some of these artists out here. They'll do some wild ish. If he did it, I don't know. But if he didn't, okay. But sound like to me that he like whatever. It's gonna look crazy during a court case. That when they bring this video up, listen to this.
What am I making? How am I making it? What's the flows? What's the melodies? I'm a melody person first, and then a structure person second. I'm playing video games like I always do. Yeah, I'm playing Warzone. Velvet, my producer, my main producer, like he sends me all the beats I use when I make music by myself. He was like, "Yo, bro, I got these 3 beats for you." I'm like, "All right, bet. Let me hear 'em." He sends me the beats. I'm listening to them one by one, trying to figure out what I'm feeling today, and it's 2 completely different vibes, bro. So it's like I'm fighting people, and then I'm like trying to put myself in the mindset of like, okay, I gotta make a song today too. So let me like get into that mental state. Falling around me. I played the 3rd one. and the third one was the crashing beat. And I was like, wait, hold on, this sounds like old David. And I love hearing things that remind me of my own music. So essentially, when I heard that beat, it was like, okay, let me take myself back. So I turned off the game, went in the closet, grabbed all my equipment, my Focusrite, my mic, interface, everything. What am I making? How am I making it? What's the flows? What's the melodies? I'm a melody person first, and then a structure person second. I'm playing video games like I always do. Yeah, I'm playing Warzone. Velvet.
Child, what is this? Man, who is on his team? See, these people that become famous off of TikTok and this, that, the other, they don't be having no real people behind them. Because anybody with some sense would have told him, chill out. Chill out with all that online, talking, all that. Just be quiet and just lay low, bro. Because they fixing to use all this stuff in court. How you up for an investigation and you up here talking on TikTok like ain't nothing going on? That's gonna make him seem callous. And when it come down to if he gets proven guilty, they're gonna bring up all these videos like this where it looks like he don't give a F. You know what I'm saying? People need to like really, really reevaluate this social media and how it makes them look. Let's go.
Her arms and legs were sawed off. There has been a major update in the case of David and Celeste, and this one is big. Brand new court documents were just released that reveal that David is in fact the #1 suspect in this case, as well as the disturbing details about how Celeste was found. So the first claim they make is that in this case, David, who they refer to in this document as the target, may be involved in the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who may have been a victim of foul play. They then go into how police found Celeste and the state in which she was found, and said it started when the manager of a garage called police saying that there was a strong smell of decay coming from a vehicle that was attracting flies. When police got there and opened the frunk, they found 2 black cadaver bags that were covered in flies, and when they unzipped the first one, they found a head and torso. They then opened the second bag, and that's where they found the arms and legs.
Man, this is some ish, bro. We don't normally, our skin folk don't normally do this type of stuff. That's why I think it's a very crazy story. Like, what is going on? Let's go.
A second black bag was discovered underneath the cadaver bag. Upon opening the second bag, the dismembered body parts were discovered. Wow. Dave Mack. Talk about a nightmare. That would make a rookie cop run for the hills and never look back. 2 bags. See, we're learning more once we've obtained information from these documents tonight. 2 bags were found in the front trunk of the Tesla. Let's see a shot of that. Remember, the smell emanated there at the impound lot, and when they opened the front, there was the body. We didn't know there were 2 separate bags, one referred to as a cadaver bag, and in that bag is the head and torso. There's a bag under that with the rest of her body parts. We also learned, Dave Mack, the subpoena states that a cadaver bag covered with insects and a strong odor of decay was found.
Shocking information, Nancy, as you mentioned. It was the smell that actually attracted the workers at the impound lot, because the vehicle was towed there. It sat there for a couple of days before they actually went, what the heck, man, this is horrible, and called police. But as you mentioned, now we've got 2 bags, one actually listed as a body bag. A quick search online to find out, where do you get a body bag? Somebody who doesn't work in that field. You can order them online, and the body bags have been used in some D4VD music videos, believe it or not. Don't know if it was purchased for that purpose, but eventually some of the remains of Celeste Rivas Hernandez found in that body bag in the frunk of the Tesla.
This is crazy. Yes. This is not FBA behavior. Let's go.
Okay, I got some more updates about this David trial, and this is probably going to be the last ones of the day. So David was brought in front of a judge earlier today with his lawyers, and he officially pleaded not guilty to all the charges that the state brought against him. His attorneys said that they're confident that there's evidence that they have that will prove that David was not involved in Celeste Rivas Hernandez's passing away. And the state also said that they're prepared to show 40 terabytes of evidence. And if you're not like a tech person, like a single terabyte is a lot of space, right? Like if you have like 100 gig phone, like that's like 10 of your phones equals 1 terabyte. So literally like 100 phones worth of information they have digitally on David is what the state is alleging. Now, is that true? I mean, maybe, maybe not, right? Because the prosecutors want to make it look like this whole thing is hemmed up so that David just confesses, right? Now, they do have an extra tool to make him confess because he is facing the Schmeth penalty. Usually, California does not have the Schmeth penalty, but the crime is considered so depraved, probably because it involves a child and, you do this level of crime against a child, then even in California, you can get put under. Yeah. So will that make him confess? Maybe, maybe not. Or maybe his lawyers are right and there's just a crazy explanation to all this. But ultimately, like, as we kind of watch this whole situation unfold, I do want to remind everyone that a little girl is gone, right? Like, she was probably facing the worst treatment of her whole entire life before she passed away. And there's no amount of trials or public shame that will ever bring her back. So just keep that in mind when you talk about this. Like, these are real people that got hurt. If you want more David trial updates, and please like, share, and follow. Or if you want to support me personally, making videos for you is my full-time job. My new single just dropped, Miss Your Body.
Honey, ain't nobody listen to that single. I'm gonna say this. Shouts out to the TikTokers that have been covering this. Hell, that's the problem, is that these people, like, they become famous and you don't even know what their problems is. Like, really. So this is a video of him, I think, with her on his live stream prior, I guess. And like I said, the whole thing was about, like, them, whatever. He was into some weird stuff. So let's go.
I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids.
What? Hello? They're going to bring all this up in court. Come on. What is right? Like, what? And then they laughed about it. Like, what? Like, what?
I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
What the hell is going on? What is going on? Like this, bro. I love hot moms, but wow, boy, oh boy. Yeah, he is. Even if he don't get the one thing, or he don't get the other, it's about 3 other charges that he will probably get. There's no way that they're gonna, any jury is gonna see any of the footage that's out here right now and not be on some what? Man. And this is the type of stuff he used to do, I don't know, this weird type of and I think look Kai Cenat faces backlash after wearing a copy of his shirt at Paris fashion show. And that's where he had this. See, he was into all this weird. What's going on? See, glorifying type of stuff, Man, let's hear what he's saying here. I don't know if he's playing music here. That's music there. But yeah, here, let's see. I don't know if I can play. So people got their music and stuff, so gotta watch out.
Oh, David with the slat in the back trunk.
He was the bodyguard for him. I helped him bury her. It's crazy.
You see this? See people making the joke about stuff. See this? All that stuff's gonna be in court. See how people just saying crazy stuff? Yeah, saw internet undefeated. Exactly. Like people, they wasn't taking this stuff serious, and meanwhile they're just doing saying all kind of wild stuff. It's like, sir, do you understand what a investigation is? Like, what are y'all doing? And then you have like his bodyguard, whatever, I don't know, his security, I don't know. Say,
Yo, what's good, bro?
Hi.
You see me? You was just with Kai-san training last week, bro.
Yeah, I was with Kai-san.
Hey,
listen, did you hear about the David case?
Oh,
singer.
David with the slat in the back trunk.
He was the bodyguard for him.
I helped him bury her. It's crazy.
No.
What the fuck? Yo, no.
Hell no. Hell.
he was really her bodyguard. Why did he say that? What is going on? People are weird. I don't know if this might be the truth or not, but I'll tell you what, it's not funny over here. It's not funny over here. What the like no. This.
Please know that the Los Angeles Police Department remains fully committed to seeking justice on behalf of your daughter. Thank you.
Man, honey.
So at this point, we'll take questions.
Anything more you can tell us about the fact that she was a witness in a pending investigation, that she reported the abuse, who was doing that investigation?
The details of the allegations that have made, particularly with that special circumstance, will be produced in court.
Did you determine cause of death, and the difficulty was to determine both the manner, cause, and date?
So with respect to the coroner's report, we will be seeking quite quickly to provide an order to the court that now allows the coroner to release that report to the public.
Do you believe that he acted from the BBC between the finding of the body of Celeste's body or her remains? Why has it taken so long for an arrest to be made?
I think the police chief got it right. That in a situation where you don't have an eyewitness account, or we can't point to a video that shows the killer killing someone, you have to go through the very rigorous and thorough investigation to look at all the digital and forensic evidence. You have to speak with witnesses, often who are cooperative, and some who are not cooperative, in order to obtain all the information necessary.
They took their time, is what he's saying. They took their time. You understand? Like listen. They took a whole year to gather all of the evidence. Like I said, for the first 6 months, he was on tour. When they first found the body, didn't leave the tour, was on tour. Finally, somebody, I guess, told him, like, no, you can't be on tour with this going on, you know? Or maybe he started losing gigs. I don't know, but he actually finally stopped his tour and ended his tour. But honey, he was on tour the whole, like I would say, up to 3 months into the investigation. He was on tour and he was not leaving that tour. I don't know whether he was trying to raise enough money to get like a legal team together or what, but honey, he was pretending like this stuff didn't even exist, child. And that's going to be brought up in court too. Like how, like a callous, if they actually were to convict him of this crime, all that staying on tour and all these little videos that they're doing, all that stuff is going to come into play, and they could probably put him to the DP, okay?
To decide who did what, when, how, and what their mental state was at the time. That is what we've been doing over the last, between September 8th, roughly, and today when we bring these charges on April 20th. So again, it's a type of case that you want to make sure you get maximum information. And by the way, if there's anyone out there that has material information about this particular murder or any other actions taken by Mr. Burke, please come forward to the Los Angeles Police Department, come forward to the LA County DA's office, and report that information.
Mr. Hoffman, there are other people who are aware of this relationship. Is it possible that you will be arresting other people within his circle, and did he act alone in this death?
Again, with respect to whether or not there's any other individuals or we're going to take any other actions, you will know about them if we do, but at this point, I'm not commenting.
Do you believe that you know how she was killed beyond it being homicide? The actual cause of death?
The coroner's report will be released shortly. Because it is not currently released, I'm not going to be commenting.
But was it determined, not that, if you won't say what it was, but has it been determined how she was killed beyond it being homicide?
The coroner has made a determination on how Celeste died, and at the point that the coroner's report becomes public, we'll be able to comment on it.
Was there a specific breakthrough last week? Is there physical evidence that ties David to this murder?
There is physical evidence and there is forensic and digital evidence that we intend to present in court to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Only a couple more questions.
Yes.
In your investigation, and just to this question, are you able to tell us exactly what the smoking gun is? And also, if you can address the issue of his visits to Santa Barbara and that, how does it connect with the murder?
So with respect to the actual details of the evidence we're going to be presenting in court, I'm not going to do that today. As far as the concept of a smoking gun, the smoking gun is the totality of the evidence that we're going to bring to prove any case, whether it's this case or any case, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Is there any evidence that he abused other underage girls that was investigated?
An investigation is ongoing. If information comes forward on with respect to any additional crimes, we will certainly investigate it.
There's been so much discussion about the difficulties in this case. The chief talked about it as well. What makes you confident you can prove these allegations?
What makes us confident is the totality of the evidence that has been obtained by the LAPD robbery homicide, by the work that the district attorney's office has done, that has led us to the point where we believe we can prove each and every one of these three charges and the special circumstances and the special allegation beyond a reasonable doubt.
Thank you, everybody. Raise your hand if you have Spanish language and you need a Spanish language translation. Okay, keep your hands up. My team will come around to you and we will have somebody.
Thank you very, very much.
Sorry, everybody. Thank you.
You said you.
Man, let me tell you something. This is crazy. I believe this case might be, if not equivalent to the Diddy trial, I think it might be even more extreme because the stuff that he is charged with,
when we've been discussing it in headline highlights, I've been waiting personally, and I know so many of you have, where we're like, what the hell is going on here? Why has he not been arrested? Which I get it. I want to kind of, I want to put myself in check a little bit with that statement too, because I understand you don't want to bring charges against somebody until you have such a rock solid case that you know that it's going to be a slam dunk at trial. I can't talk. And we knew from the very beginning, once they recovered Celeste's remains, they were so badly decomposed that they at first were not able to determine cause of death or manner of death. Therefore, if they couldn't even determine that this was in fact a homicide, how do you bring forth those charges? They since have determined the manner of death as homicide, and I believe the cause of death has also been determined, which kind of surprised me when I first heard that, because given the state of her remains and what they shared early on. And so I'm wondering if they are going to release that today during the press conference as well, or if they won't release that because she was a minor. It also is.
So as you guys know, people have been following this whole case the entire time. I mean, I know that my audience probably is unaware of this because, D4VD is 21 years old. The girl's 14. You know what I'm saying? We probably, our age group is not aware of the things going on with that age group. But I mean, imagine, your 14-year-old girl runs away from home, finds a TikTok star that has a burgeoning music career, but is into dark stuff, dark music, like speaking stuff, talking about like, all kind of like there's like a cartoon where it looks like he's actually depicting the situation that happened, just a lot of just weird stuff. And, you don't know where your daughter is, and all of a sudden she pops up in a Tesla, dismembered. Yeah, that's what happened.
Believed that her parents will not only be in attendance or her family will not only be in attendance at the presser, but may also speak as well. So finally, we know that he has been arrested. And let's just kind of break down. I have the whole timeline here, and I just want to go through it really quickly with you to brush up on all of the dates and what exactly happened here. So as we know, David, D4VD, still don't understand the acronym, but maybe that's because I'm like a millennial boomer. I don't get it. But David has been arrested. So back on April 5th, 2024, when Celeste was just 13 years old.
All right. So before we go into the story, because I'm going to play that, but I want to show you how like he actually was, how his imagery was, his whole imagery had like this demonic serial killer type of a edge to it. I don't, like skin folk, we don't be doing this type of ish. You know what I'm saying? But I guess this new generation, we had little like Eshawn, we had like the little the hell, different Hellraisers and different like people that talked about stuff. We had like the Sons of Man, a bunch of like little horrorcore stuff, but this guy was really into that type of vibe. So let's kind of like see a video. I can't play the music behind it, but let's see the imagery behind, that he was displaying. Let's go. See this? Let me put it bigger. So this is the video that, he put out, and it pretty much is kind of indicative of what actually happened in the whole situation. Like, it's almost like he I don't know, made a cartoon of it. Yeah, so we unlocked, 21-year-old D4VD. They're saying that he is charged now with the murder of 14-year-old Rivas. D4VD is an actual artist, singer. And so what happened is that he's like a TikTok sensation, and I guess, somehow he ended up meeting one of his fans, and she's only 14. She was a runaway, and I guess she threatened to let people know what was going to happen about the situation. And they're saying that, he, took her life. So, and then now they're offering the death penalty as the highest charge, because there's a combination of charges in between killing her and also dismembering the body, and then also like doing minors, doing it with a minor. So very, very, but not just that, but like vile things with a minor. So let's go into it.
She was last seen in Lake Elsinore, California. So over 2 years ago at this point. Now, this was an approximation, okay? And I'm dying at your guys' acronym for jail right now. And she was last seen in Lake Elsinore. Now, Lake Elsinore, just to give you an idea of where that's located for anybody who doesn't live here in California, if Los Angeles is here, Orange County is here, Lake Elsinore is kind of here. And I'm wondering if that's showing backwards on the map, but it's part of like the Inland Empire.
Right. So how does she get from her house to his place? She was a runaway, and she probably knew her way around somehow. That's the thing about California, is that people will find their way, even runaways, and then be traveling up and down and all this other stuff, all the way up to Seattle. There's a lot of like Chicago, California runaways that end up in Seattle and Portland and stuff like that and end up on drugs and stuff. But it's interesting because she ended up with him in his Los Angeles, Hollywood kind of like home.
By Corona, out towards like Temecula, the Corona area, as if you're going almost down towards San Diego area. It's just further south and more inland. So she was last seen in Lake Elsinore when she was 13 years old. Then around the spring 2024, approximately, they believe that is when Celeste was murdered. And I want to actually pull this up.
Right.
Really.
So she wasn't even all the way 14. She just had turned 14. So she really was like 13. And you know what? Oh my God. I can only imagine. My daughter, I remember my daughter when she was 13. I can only imagine her running away. I don't know whether kids in California are a lot more advanced, but I mean, just running away and doing all this stuff. Come on now. What is going on?
Quickly, hold on. Let me see if I can find.
And he's 21, by the way, guys. So he's 21. She's 14. Just from 13 turned to 14. And he is.
Okay. That's what I thought. So when she was reported missing on April 5th, it was after she had left to see a movie. Okay. So then literally a whole year goes by. Fast forward to September 2025. And that, unfortunately, is when her remains were found decomposed. And I'm not going to say what happened to her remains, but decomposed in the trunk of the Tesla, or the frunk, which I hate that word. I hate that word, but the front trunk of the Tesla. And what was weird about this, too, is the Tesla had been dumped pretty much. Then people reported smelling of foul odor coming from it.
Right. So there's different accounts of this. Some people say it was in a parking lot. Some people say it was dumped. I don't know. We don't know what the thing that will come out in the court case, where it was found and everything like that. They were saying that somebody alerted to the police. It was found in a parking garage somewhere. But I don't know why they didn't think they could trace it back to him. It's really bizarre.
They don't know how long it had been there for an exact time. There was an approximation, and they discovered her remains. Inside, they saw the vehicle was abandoned in the Hollywood Hills area. It was about, I want to say at least over a month at that point that it had been abandoned. And they found, they brought in cadaver dogs. They brought the body bags. They found her remains. And while it has been said and confirmed from different people, but not really in a large way, it has been said that her remains were not intact, therefore dismembered.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's also a charge too. Not only just did you do this, you did that. You know what I'm saying? That is severe stuff. And California don't normally do the D penalty, but in a situation like this, 14-year-old girl just turning from 13 to 14 runs away from home to meet this guy who's a star, so-called whatever, 21-year-old. She threatens to, drop the dime on him for whatever lewd acts that they did together. He, trying to save his career, does this and then discards of her in a Tesla somewhere in the middle of a parking lot. I don't know what that, honey. I don't know. He was into all this weird stuff, but they wasn't into any movies. And hell, you watch any movie that's not the way to do it. But let's go.
And we don't know. We know, I've heard and read in certain filings things about her torso and different things like that, but basically disposed of. Okay. Now, around this time, everybody started looking at David, right? Because not only were they allegedly in a relationship, which, by the way, this means she would have been 13 years old at the time that she was murdered. She would have been 14 years old at the time her remains were found.
Wow. So she wasn't even 14 when she was with him. She was only 13 and he was 21. Wow. 6 years older than her. Above age. This is getting more weirder. Let's go. This is getting crazy.
David is now 21 years old. So no matter what way you look at it, obviously a different dynamic, a power play, and statutory situation going on with that relationship. So people immediately started looking at David, being like, you guys.
So even if he don't get the charge of the one thing, it's going to be that you had a relationship with a girl that was 13 years old and you were 20. So there's a statutory relationship that's that's considered yet like, you have to like register as an offender at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Were allegedly in a relationship. There were some matching tattoos. There were some social media things, but tying them together. He had this weird ass music video called Romantic Homicide, where it depicted a lot of what people allege Celeste went through, and it just didn't look good. Then in the fall of 2025, the authorities start building their case, whether that case is against David or against other people or multiple people. It was not officially announced, but they start building their case. Around this same time, in what appears to me to be a very guilty move for somebody who says that they have no involvement, he not only leaves his $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills home that he was renting, but the properties he did have in his name in Texas and I believe one other state, he started shuffling it around and moving it to his mother's name, to under other family names, to where they weren't hit in his name anymore.
Wow.
Which is a very strategic move, because in the event that you either get indicted for something or you catch a civil suit down the line, people can go after your assets, right? So to move your assets even when you're claiming that you're innocent and that you had no
man, so much against this situation. Moved all the assets to the mother while this was happening. Crazy. So, okay. Something
involvement feels as though you're preparing for something and you're trying to protect your assets and make sure that there is some sort of shield so that you're not going to have to give those up, turn those over.
Trying to like make sure he probably got some money for lawyers. Put in the mama's name. Okay, mom, sell this house, pay for the lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Because he gonna need at least $1 million or more to fight this case. If he's able to like even try to beat it, he gonna need like at least $1 to $2 million to fight this case and not end up in the death penalty, because that's what they're trying to give him.
And that your family will be protected. So then around November 2025, as everybody was still picking up information, this is around the time when TMZ also had reported that not only were her remains dismembered, but I believe they also said that it had been frozen at one point. And other news, I think LAPD actually came out combating that, saying that's not true at all. I don't know if they meant the dismemberment or the frozen element, but around the same time, it was November, and that's when the ME, the medical examiner, started removing some of the information that was out there and that was public and trying to seal things because it was getting not only out of control, but the investigation was obviously continuing as well. Now, cause of death at this point was still undetermined. Manner of death at this point publicly was still undetermined. That doesn't mean that they didn't know the manner of death at this point, but it was undetermined. So then around February of 2026, this year, the grand jury activity starts to begin. Not only are some of David's family members subpoenaed to testify, but there were other people attached to him, whether it's through his entourage, his manager, his friend, other people involved. One guy even didn't show up, and then they arrested him for that because he wasn't cooperating. And they start building this whole thing. Like, the grand jury's coming in, they're subpoenaing people, they're trying to get stories, and it looks as though you're in this, I guess like you could say like this crescendo state of where you're building up to what people hoped would be an arrest and more information and an understanding of what happened, which, think about Celeste's family this entire time. Missing for now at this point over 2 years.
2 years missing. Imagine this as a parent. This is a nightmare. This is nightmare fuel. I can only imagine.
And not having solid answers as to what happened. Of course, unfortunately, knowing that her body had been identified and that her remains were recovered, but not knowing what happened, what went down, how it happened, who was responsible, how many people truly are responsible, which I'll talk to in a minute. Let me make a note here to come back to that. Just because, I'm scatterbrained a little bit. And so it looks as though there is some forward movement in this case, which is great. Then last week on April 17th, David was arrested. He was also taken into custody near Chateau Marmont, which is like the hot spot for celebrities, which I think is kind of ironic in this situation. People go there for secrecy, to go under the radar, to have affairs, to do all sorts of crazy things, and just to enjoy it, that too. But he's arrested near there. Then he was booked into jail, and here's the key. without bail, meaning they, I'm sure, either thought that the charges are severe enough and they have enough evidence that he could potentially be a flight risk, that who knows what could happen at this point, right?
So, you know, if they put you in jail without bail, that means that I don't know. They have something. They have enough evidence to keep you in jail, and they think that you would be a flight risk. Based on the evidence they have, that they know that if they let you roam free, that you might flee. Interesting. Let's go.
He has means 1,000%. Now, going back to his entourage, the reason I say other people potentially involved, and I wonder if we will find out more of this today. Sorry, keeping an eye on the clock here because I don't want to just keep talking and miss it. But because they brought so many people in and had subpoenaed them, it's my belief. And I'd have to go back actually, and maybe I need to put this on my timeline. I believe that he had left for tour right when the Tesla was dumped in the late summer of 2025. And so it's my personal belief, which could totally be wrong. I think that people in his camp or his entourage helped him with whatever happened, whether that was dismemberment, disposal, driving the car away.
Let me tell you something. The whole going on tour is insane to me. So you can't tell me that this is not going to be looked at as a callous, calculated act that is going to warrant the DP. If he gets charged with the murder charge, and they are able to tie it in the fact that he actually went on tour afterward, he is through. Trust me. Ain't gonna be life. It ain't gonna be no life, and this is gonna be done. He gonna be through.
Lying for him, protecting him, whatever, cleaning up the scene, whatever happened. And what was interesting in all of this is that early on, when there wasn't a manner of death or cause of death determined, my worry was, oh, if she unfortunately was so badly decomposed, they're not able to determine that, and not even able to determine manner of death. He could easily say, we were partying, she OD'd, I panicked, I disposed of her body, which you would think is bad enough. However, there have been so many cases where even if there's dismemberment involved, but even just concealment of a body or wrongful disposal of a body, if you can't prove murder and that's all, and but you say like, yeah, I did dispose of her, I panicked, whatever happened. There's been cases where people only get 10 months for that. Sometimes even less than that. Sometimes just like probation and fines, and so, which is so crazy to me. So my concern early on was like, oh no, if they don't identify what the manner of death is here, no cause of death even, but just manner of death, I wonder if he's going to play that and say we were all partying and I just panicked, and then he wouldn't catch really much of anything. His career may be ruined. He may be canceled. Maybe not. I don't know, based on his weirdo fans. But that was my concern. So the fact that they have now nailed down manner of death as homicide, I think is a very good sign. And again, I have heard that there is a cause of death as well, which we'll see if they bring that up today. So now we know today there's going to be a press conference. The charges are expected to be formally filed. The case has been officially ruled as a homicide by the medical examiner, and there will be arguments over bail, evidence, and all of those things.
Right. So as you guys seen, is that they pretty much ruled it a homicide, and that she was attacked with a sharp object. I think they're still trying to figure out more information. Let's go.
Get the volume up on that too, just because sometimes the volume sucks out. And then I'll mute myself.
Hold on, let me go a little further because we already saw that. We saw the information with the Associated Press and what that detail was. Let's go.
And that is the date that she went to David's house, one of the dates where they believe she was never seen of again.
Let's go.
Whoa, that was really loud. Okay, obviously a lot to go over. I was like scribbling feverishly. So let's just kind of revisit all of this right now. So we know that she first went missing in April of 2024. That's when she was first reported missing after she went to see the movie, and that was from Lake Elsinore.
I think he's
fast
as well.
forward a year to April 23rd, 2024.
Yes, Loving, I think it's over. It's curtains for him. Like, there's no way he can get. I don't think that he can get out of this because, with everything he did, even up until this point, even if he didn't do it, they're gonna try to nail him to the cross. Period. There's no way that he's gonna be able to get out of this. Because they're gonna make an example. that's why people need to be very careful of the stuff they put on social media. Like, he's been being very arrogant this entire time, and they've been trying to nail him, and whoever the witnesses are that they're saying they got testimony, he's through.
And that is the date that she went to David's house, one of the dates where they believe she was never seen of again after that date. So I believe that is the death date that they're going to mark. So April 23rd, 2025, which would have meant that she was 14 years old, because her birthday was September 7th, which is actually the day before her remains were found. So if she was 13, she turned 14 that fall. Then she went to David's house the following spring while she was 14. Then her remains were found the day after she turned 15. Now let's go into, okay, if I have one more fucking moron in this chat who is saying some fucking like...
All right. So Loving says, I think they said some months ago that a friend of his was living in the house and had something to do with it while he was out of town. Honey, I think that friend is fixed. I think that whoever that friend is dropped a dime on David. And honey, ain't no friends. Ain't no friends. Ain't no honor amongst thieves and all this other stuff. Ain't no honor amongst none of that. So I'm sure that he is gonna save his own. If he did have something to do with it, he'll blame it on him, and he'll be through. So. Even if D4L, whatever you want to call itself, decided to tell this guy to cover it up or whatever it was, that person dropped the dime on him. They said witness testimony. Let's go.
Bullshit. Get out of here. Literally, honestly, a 14-year-old girl is killed and you're in here like spouting free David bullshit. Get out of my face with that. So let's go through the charges. First-degree murder with special circumstances. And the special circumstances that they are citing: lying in wait, which is crazy; murdering a witness in an investigation, which that investigation is to the investigation in his lewd and lascivious acts with Celeste, because she's an individual under 14 years old, and also for financial gain. That's another special circumstance, because he didn't want to lose his fame, his celebrity. He wanted to keep making money on tour. We know he went on tour right after the Tesla was dumped and found. And so special circumstances. They are pursuing the absolute max, which could be either life in prison with no parole or the death penalty. He is also being charged with, his second charge is continuous sexual acts, lewd and lascivious acts, with an individual under 14 years old. And I thought what was interesting really right there is that where it goes into somebody asked after he announced everything, was she a witness in the investigation? Like, had she said something about the sex acts and the relationship, and which I call it relationship loosely. I mean more of just like that they knew each other. Did she confide in somebody about that? So was there already an ongoing investigation? And that's what led to this, which they said we will find out at trial. If it gets there, like they're not going to comment on that. So I'm wondering if there was already an investigation and if she did speak out and that's why he killed her, to shut her up. The third charge is mutilating the remains of a body, because we know he did in fact dismember her. In terms of the trial, what they believe that they are going to bring forward that will prove his guilt is a lot of witness testimony, digital evidence, and also a lot of documents. When it was asked if there will be other possible arrests, whether it was arresting people.
So his own friends dropped a dime on him, documents, and then video evidence. So they're going to like tie this whole thing together using his own videos that he said. Man, this is crazy. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, people be online, even if he might not have done it, just because of how he was online, it's going to paint a picture. And you can't tell me, because the way that they did this whole thing, they waited an entire year. And then you could like hope that a jury of your peers had not heard of this case, but you can't tell me they haven't. You're not going to be able to find too many people that have not heard about this and be the jury. I don't even know. They said it's also something about the Tesla car that is going to give him away. I don't know what it is. Man, it's something. Man, it's a lot, you know?
People who knew about the relationship, such as David's friends, maybe family members, whomever, they said, we will find that out if those arrests are made, but at this time, they are not going to make any sort of comments on that. And then lastly, the cause of death has in fact been determined by the coroner. He is not releasing it until the coroner's report is made public, which should be being released shortly.
Well, what they said was that her cause of it was by a sharp object, you know? So it was a stabbing.
Get notified of everything that LAPD and adjacent agencies release. So I will let you guys know on my Instagram account as soon as we know that information. My Instagram is @_Annie Elise. So just make sure that you are following.
So shouts out to Annie Elise for her information. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
We'll get that posted today. We also have True Crime with Annie Elise, 2 different accounts where we post way more true crime stuff all the time. So as soon as we know, I will let you know. So that's where we're at. Let's see. I'm kind of surprised about the lying in wait, but also not surprised. And at this point, he is continuing to be held, it appears, without any sort of bail being set. And we'll see where this goes. They seem very confident in what they have against him. And when it was asked why it took so long, they said they believe that in the totality of their evidence that they have collected, that they have enough to convict him. So,
man, this sounds like some FBI Fed stuff, you know, that before they even tried to even prosecute, they did so much research that they were like, no, we know that we got him. Child, I don't know who he got his lawyer. It got a woman. And maybe he might try to use the female aspect of this to fight his battle, but I don't think it's gonna be a winning battle. I don't think he's gonna win. Because jury, the jury is a thing. And the fact that they strung this out so long where people can see the news story and make a decision, I don't know how many jurors are gonna find out who have not heard of the case. I don't know.
Life with no parole or the death penalty, which I know not a lot of people agree with the death penalty. I am not one of those people. I believe if you hurt a child, you deserve the death penalty, no ifs, ands, or buts. And she obviously was a child. So that is where we are at right now. Obviously, now that this big...
I'm going to tell you this, is that this is going to be, I think it's going to be a bigger case than P. Diddy, because you're dealing with a young girl, and then he's a prominent, person in the world or whatever, and it's going to be on and popping. So I just want to thank you guys for watching so far. Thank you guys for your time. I'm going to keep abreast of this whole trial as we go along. I think it's really scary about the fact that a 13-year-old would leave home, end up at this guy's house. I guess something happened. We're going to find out more and then end up, deceased. So I believe this is going to be bigger than a P. Diddy. I think it's going to be a huge situation because it could end up in a death penalty. And I think that out of all the cases going on, between R. Kelly and I think Fat Joe has a RICO case, but nothing was going to be a thing where you could end up in the death penalty. So I'm gonna keep you guys posted. Much love. Peace.
Just when I thought I couldn't find my way out, yeah, I searched the God in me to find my way out. I know it can seem way out, but the Creator flows to and through me from way out. I'm talking way out, yeah. See if you believe in the God in you, it's a better place.